to you live from Chatterbox Studios in downtown Memphis. It's Stephen Kirkpatrick with Executive Speakers on Speakers. I've got New York Times bestselling author Neil Pasricha with us. We're talking about happiness today. That's it. Happiness. Simple. How to be happy. It's springtime, so come hang out with us for a little bit and you may learn something. Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. I'm so excited about having Neil Pasricha with us today. Neil is a New York Times bestselling author of The Happiness Equation and the Book of Awesome series. It's been published in 10 countries. It's spent over 5 years on bestseller lists and sold over 1 million copies. Pasricha is a Harvard MBA and one of the most popular TED speakers of all time and founder of the Institute of Global Happiness. Neil, how are you, man?
Stephen, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, we are so excited to be talking to you. Really quick, how are things in Canada?
Things in Canada are fantastic. You know, we are in a different world than you guys are, and it's been exacerbated by the recent election. So we are enjoying life up here and still traveling to the U.S. when we can get in properly and welcoming our U.S. neighbors who are just swarming our country and our city with tourism, and it's just beautiful. We have a lot of Americans up here these days, I'll be honest with you.
You know what? That's a good thing. I've been to Toronto before. It's a pretty city. We recommend everyone goes there. So that's good. That's good. Hey man, want to go ahead and kind of jump into it. So, let's talk about kind of your story and your beginnings and how you started your website and your blog. I know you kind of went through some difficult circumstances, so just kind of take us through that and, like I said, just go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Well, listen, we all go through ups and downs in life, you, me, everybody. And so, as I was in my late 20s, I went through my biggest series of downs I'd ever battled. So I was in a marriage that was heading in the wrong direction, and I had a close friend that was battling severe mental illness. And so to find some positive energy in my life at the time, I started up a blog. I literally went to Google and typed in how to start a blog and pressed I'm feeling lucky. And 10 minutes later, I started up a little website called 1000awesomethings.com. As I started posting an awesome thing a day, every day, I found that I was cheering myself up despite the fact that my marriage sadly did end and my best friend very suddenly and very sadly ended up taking his own life. So as I was going through all that, the blog became a form of therapy. I was writing about waiters and waitresses. You bring your free refills without asking. I was writing about being called up to the dinner buffet first at a wedding, getting the meatballs before they congeal into a meat pyramid. You know what I'm talking about? Finding $5 in your coat pocket, waking up and realizing it's Saturday, the smell of bakery air, playing on old dangerous playground equipment, and these tiny little awesome things became a daily essay that I posted and eventually reached, nobody. When you start the thing, like my mom read it and she forwarded it to my dad and that was it. Traffic doubled from my parents.
Thank God for parents.
It started reaching, thank goodness for my parents. And then it started reaching like 12 people and then 100 people and then 1,000 people and then 1 million people. The thing started getting 50 million hits from around the world. And then I get this phone call and the voice says, "Hey, you just won the best blog in the world award," which, like your listeners are probably saying to themselves, that's totally fake. Like, who's even heard of a best blog award? But sure enough, it was real. I got flown to New York City. I walked a red carpet between Martha Stewart, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers. I go on stage. I accept a Webby Award for best blog in the world. And when I get home to Toronto, 10 publishers are lined up in my inbox, eager to turn 1,000 awesome things into the Book of Awesome. So this book comes out, like literally, in months. It comes out so fast. And because I'd written it all essentially already on my blog. So, it was, for the publisher, it was like a file print and staple job. And the Book of Awesome comes out and it just, slams on the New York Times bestseller list. It started selling again, like tens and hundreds and thousands and millions of copies. I get invited to do a TED Talk called The 3 A's of Awesome. And that experience, helped me navigate the lowest of the lows. But I wouldn't say it was a cure-all. I mean, it's not like you can just cover up the pain you're experiencing by having some external success. But having said it, it prevented me from hitting rock bottom. And so that's the story of the origin of 1000awesomethings.com and the Book of Awesome. Meanwhile, by the way, the whole time I'm doing all this, I'm working for the CEO of Walmart. That's my full-time job. I worked there for 10 years. Running leadership development, working for CEO of Walmart Canada, then Walmart International. So I'm running all day, running all night, and I'm burning myself while doing all this stuff.
That's pretty crazy. That's an interesting story, but it's amazing you're able to turn all of that into something that has helped so many people. So let me ask you this, Neil. Why a blog? In the age of social media and YouTube and self-videos, why not start a YouTube channel? Why not open a Twitter account? Why did you choose a blog as the best way to communicate your story and serve as that form of therapy?
Yeah, well, the thing you don't know about me, Stephen, is I'm an extremely nerdy person who grew up with thick Coke bottle glasses.
No way, Neil, there's no way.
Very, very few friends in my elementary school, and reading and writing became salve for me. So I ended up becoming the editor of my high school newspaper and my university newspaper. And when I hit pain points in my life, I go to writing. That's my instinct. So you ask about YouTube, it's like, I'm not Lily Singh. Like, I'm not just going to grab a video camera and start talking about myself in the bathroom. Like, God bless her, but I can't do that. I don't have that instinct. I'm not a vlogger saying, sharing every intimacy in my life. I was literally incognito. I didn't put my name on the blog. There's no picture of me in the Book of Awesome. It was very little about myself and very much about having a global conversation about positivity. Because, by the way, like, my first idea was get into the news and see what's all going on online. And that's all negative. Like, everything we all see every day from morning till night, it's bad news. And so the idea behind 1000things.com was give people a place where we can have a conversation about good news that isn't, cheesy and smarmy. It's actually ideal, it's literary and thoughtful, but it gets a conversation happening to remind us all how lucky we are.
So let me kind of take a detour here, and I think you bring up something that is incredibly relevant just to our society today, and that's about news coverage. You say, obviously, we open up the newspaper, we go online, watch TV. So much of it is negative. And people say, well, why is it so negative? And they say, well, that's what sells. And you're sitting here talking about writing a book called The Happiness Equation that's selling millions of copies. And obviously that's not the case. How would you navigate that? How would you answer someone that said, no, you've got to be negative. All people want to hear about is the negative.
Well, it's so interesting because it's based in our root physiological, ourselves. We evolved these brains that are so naturally programmed towards bad news because for thousands and thousands of years, you had to see the saber-toothed tiger before it leaped on you. You had to protect your family from a lot of predators. And we have all kinds of biological research that shows that our brains are remarkable when it comes to finding problems. And essentially, you have something in your brain called an amygdala, which shoots out adrenaline hormones, and you go into fight or flight response. It was designed to protect you from giant cats on the African plains. It's now used when you're late for a meeting or stuck at a red light or you drop a glass on the floor of your kitchen. We have an overdeveloped sense of problem scanning in our mind. Having said that, if you go to Google and you type in how to be, the first drop-down word is happy. We want to be happy more than we want to be rich, pretty, or a real estate agent, which, by the way, are number 2, 3, and 4 on that list.
A real estate agent?
Real estate agent. Everyone's trying to get in the market right now. So we want happiness because we know we want happiness. We're having trouble finding it. Then if you go to Professor David Myers at the University of Michigan, who's conducted the largest longitudinal study on happiness ever, from 1955 to today, he can show you that our wealth has skyrocketed, our safety has skyrocketed, our technology has skyrocketed, and yet we are no happier. So I just painted you a portrait. I said, we've got this root negative thing in our mind. If it bleeds, it leads. Like, we want to see the car accident on the front of the newspaper, sadly. That's why they put it there, because we buy that newspaper. Yet, we are looking for happiness. It's our number one Google search term. Our most preeminent social scientists and researchers are saying we're no happier now than we were in the 50s, despite advances in every other part of our lives, including wealth and safety and technology and mobility. And the third thing I want to share with you is that there's incredible groundbreaking positive psychology research done more recently by Professor Sonia Lyubomirsky out of Stanford and University of California, proposing a model that shows half of our happiness is genetic, but most of the remaining half is based on our intentional activities. Yes, there's some circumstances in there, but 40% of our happiness, Stephen, is based on what we do, our actions. So if I can summarize, we want it more than anything else. Okay, the Google, how to be. We want it more than we want to be rich, pretty, or a real estate agent. We have not found it yet. That's the University of Michigan work showing that we're no happier now than we were in the 50s, despite advances in every other metric. And yet we know how to get it. It's these intentional activities. It's the things we can do in 20 minutes a day to actually convert our brains into positive. We can actually flip our mindset into positive. So the biggest question for me is, and the stuff I talk about on stage is how do we trigger ourselves to developing these happiness habits? How can we insert a few minutes into our day? I inserted a few minutes into my day on 1,000 awesome things. It was a journaling practice. It was a gratitude practice, right? These are things that we know create happiness. But for the average person, including me, like, how do you insert 2 minutes of meditation? How do you insert a journaling practice or a physical activity like nature walks? Because we know that nature walks are a huge indicator of happiness. And so a lot of what I talk about on stage is something I call the 20 for 20 challenge, which is challenging audiences and your listeners right now to sort of pick an activity that they can do for 20 minutes a day for 20 days in a row to develop a new happiness habit.
That sounds like a very cool challenge. I'm writing that down right now because I'm going to take that, because who doesn't want to be more happy? Like Neil said, everyone does, because it's what's on Google.
Everyone wants to be happy.
Everyone wants to be happy.
Do you want me to give you the exercises?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So basically there's 5 that I'm going to tell you right now. Remember, any of these 5 take 20 minutes. Your goal, Stephen, is to pick one of these things. Okay. All right. So you don't have to do all 5. It's a multiple choice question. You just pick one. The first one is 3 20-minute nature walks a week. This is from Michael Babiak and team down at Penn State and published in the American Psychosomatic Society. It outperforms people on antidepressants and people doing both the walking and taking the antidepressant. Like literally just walking your dog through the woods or through the park outperforms people on medication and doing the walking.
Wow.
So 3 20-minute nature walks. That's the first one. The second one's called the 20-minute replay. This one is about journaling. Famous study from University of Texas called How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Words. And they showed that people with journaling for 20 minutes a day, like literally at the end of the day, you say, I had a great podcast with Neil today. It was a lot of fun.
That's on there. That's already on there. No doubt. Already on there.
Right? That's very similar to my journal entry today. And so you write about it, which means your brain relives it, which means when you read your journal, you relive it a third time. That's why I call it the replay. You don't have a GPS signal in your mind. So when you're writing about it and reading about it, you're experiencing it again. The third thing is conscious acts of kindness. This is Sonia Lovamirsky again. If you perform 5 conscious acts of kindness a week, you will be happier. This one outperforms any of the other 4 I'm giving you. So this is a big one. I mean, like buying flowers for your spouse. I mean, making lunch for your kid. Little small things that you can do to make yourself happier as well as them. Number 4 is meditation, because Massachusetts General Hospital has shown that closing your eyes and doing a few minutes of deep breathing actually increases the activity in the prefrontal cortex of your brain. That's the part of your brain responsible for focus and attention. You go from throwing grenades in the trenches of your life, Stephen, to being the general of the army. Like, that's what meditation can do for you. So I recommend either Headspace, Calm.com, or 10% Happier. Those are 3 apps your listeners can check out, all of which are free to download. And the 5th and final one is 5 gratitude. Writing down at the end of the week 5 things you're grateful for. This is a famous study from Emmons and McCullough that compared it to people writing down hassles or events. And if you can write down 5 things you're grateful for, you will be happier after a 10-week period. My wife and I play this game every night called Rose, Thorn, Bud. You know, she says a rose from her day, which is a gratitude. I say one back. She says another rose. I say one back. She says a thorn, which is something that didn't go well. And then she says a bud. Rose, thorn, bud. A bud is something she's looking forward to. That little exercise that I'll leave you guys with is a simple way to get 4 gratitudes in at the end of the day. So all together, those are the 5 exercises. And again, what I tell you is you don't have to pick all 5. Just pick one of them. Just pick one. And if you can do one of those activities for 20 minutes a day for 20 days in a row, you've done it. You've already developed a happiness habit.
That is absolute happiness gold you just gave our listeners. That is some awesome stuff, Neil. Really cool. I think it's really awesome, too, that those things don't require you buying anything. It doesn't require you taking any kind of class. It's literally just making a little space in your day and being intentional about where you're focusing stuff. So, I mean, those are awesome things. So Neil, one of the things that you said was that people want to be happier more than they want to be rich. People search more on Google for how to be happy rather than how to be rich. But secret number 5 in your book is how to make more money than a Harvard MBA. And obviously, obviously money is something that we all have to deal with. Old adages, money can't buy you happiness. There is a country song out there that says money can't make you happy, but it can buy you a boat. I don't know if you heard that one. Yeah. It was so anyways, I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, let's unpack how we deal with money.
Okay, absolutely. Well, listen, 2 things I want to point out. Number 1, university and college graduates want happiness over wealth now, today, like as we're talking, but this is new. It has always been wealth first. We've always wanted wealth, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's just new. So any of your listeners that have, college age kids, your kids are saying to you, I just want a job that makes me happy. I want to find a company with great value. That's new. Like we didn't, 10 years ago at Harvard, like everyone wanted to be an investment banker. You know what I mean? So this is new. And then the other thing I'm going to say about the chapter title, How to Make More Money Than a Harvard MBA, is it's what's known in the book writing industry as chapter clickbait. You know what I mean? That chapter gets so many clicks and so many searches because of the title. Here's what I'm saying in the title. The average Harvard MBA exit salary is $120,000 a year. Okay? The average American salary today is $24,000 a year, which means a fresh-faced, dewy-eyed 26-year-old with a brand new degree makes 5 times the average American.
Wow.
Which is in some ways horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But my point in that chapter is that every single job is paid by the hour. Okay. When I was a babysitter, when I was 12 years old, I got paid, like $10 an hour to eat cheese strings and watch the Cosby Show with like my neighbors next door. And as I grew older and I became a driveway shoveler, I got $12 an hour. My first job in a restaurant was $16 an hour, right? Like it goes up and up. But every single job is paid for by the hour. If you do an analysis, in which I did for the happiness equation, on the number of hours that a Harvard MBA works and the number of weeks of vacation they take, you get a figure of $28 an hour. Because, and I have all the math in the book, but it shows that they work on average of 80 hours a week, often in investment banking or finance or consulting jobs, private equity jobs, and often traveling. So, I included that time because if you're away Monday to Thursday, it's like you're working. And then if you compare it to 2 other jobs, one is an assistant manager in retail, which is a very common job in the U.S. That means you help run a Target or a Walmart or a JCPenney or whatever. And number 3 is you are a teacher. I took those 3 jobs and I compared them on the total salary. Assistant manager $70,000 and a teacher salary is $45,000. And I broke it down by salary per hour, which means how many hours a day in a week and how many weeks vacation. And all 3 of those jobs, the Harvard MBA, the assistant manager of a retail store, and the teacher, all make $28 an hour. All of them make $28 an hour. So my point in that chapter, because this is about happiness, is when you do the math, the way to make more money than a Harvard MBA is actually to overvalue yourself and make sure you're not working too many hours, because then you'll increase your dollar per hour. And that's the only figure that actually matters.
I think that's such a great perspective and something that a lot of times in colleges and universities, career placement offices won't give you, because they're just going to push you towards that salary figure and not looking at the full package of quality of life. And, like I said, if volunteering is really, really important for someone and you take a job where you're not working 78 hours a week, that's more time that you get to go do something that's makes you happy, do those volunteer hours. Or take a nature walk.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And by the way, you're right. That salary figure is such a weird number because it's saying you get paid this much money for one entire year of work. But when you do the math, you're like, okay, there's 160 hours in a week. How many of those hours am I working? Is it a 40-hour job? Is it a 60-hour job? Is it an 80-hour job? Do I get 2 weeks vacation or 4 weeks vacation or 8 weeks vacation? Or in the case of some teachers, do I get the summer off? What is the math here? And what we're failing to see is the forest from the trees. A big part of our happiness is how we split up our time. So just to carry the conversation a little bit further, Stephen, it's like I think of every 168-hour week as a 3-bucket week. You've got 3 buckets of 56 hours. 56 hours for sleep, which is 8 hours a night. 56 hours for work, which is, by the way, a pretty busy job.
That's
working a 40-hour week job. I'm adding 16 hours for commuting, working from home, and weekend. And then you got a fun bucket. You've got a 56 hours fun bucket. For me, my fun bucket for the last few years is writing books. Like, this is on the side of my full-time job. It's just fun. For some people, it might be, going to the gym or raising my kid or whatever. The point is, if you're working too much, you've got no third bucket. You swallow it up whole with your occupation. And I argue you become a little bit more one-dimensional. So, let's just make sure that if we're working hard, we're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's good. So I know you talk to a lot of businesses about this, and I think that there's definitely got to be a perspective where people see corporate world as it's all about bottom line. But leaders, business leaders, they need to get this more than anyone, wouldn't you say so? They need to understand this happiness equation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing right now is, according to Gallup, very famous study, only 1 in 8 people are engaged at work. Only 1 in 8. 7 out of 8 people are not engaged in their job. Okay, you take that study, you combine it with an incredible study done by Professor Matt Killingsworth at Harvard. He actually has, using smartphones, people fill out real-time surveys. And so he had 50,000 people around the world filling out real-time surveys about how happy they were and what they were doing over a number of months. He published a study in Harvard Business Review. He showed in his research the place we are the least happy is the same place we are spending the most time. This is a horrifying result. The place we are the least happy is the place that we're spending the most time, and that's work. So the work I'm doing right now with the Institute for Global Happiness is all about increasing happiness in organizations. Why is that important? Because if you can actually convert someone's mindset to positive inside a company, then according to research from Stanford, you increase their productivity by 31%. You increase their sales by 37%. You increase their creativity by 300%. It isn't about the new SAT system or the fancy office furniture or putting your new office building by the river. None of that stuff matters if people are going to work disengaged. Everything I'm focusing on is research-based tools that get people to be happier in the workplace. And the ultimate purpose of this work stuff I'm doing is to increase happiness inside organizations, because it's the place we are spending the most time and we are the least happy.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. That's amazing research, and that's good stuff to cite as well too. It makes sense. If people are happy, they're going to want to be there and do a better job for you. So I think that's really cool. So,
and you know what? We're getting swallowed up by work, right? Like, I just told you that work is a place where spending most time we're really happy. I've also told you kind of 15 minutes ago, we talked about, how can you do one of these happiness exercises? Take it the 20 for 20 challenge. So you pick up one of the 5 exercises I gave you to do for 20 minutes a day for 20 days in a row. Another big one, though, that's really kind of stemming us right now at work is our busyness. We are getting an average of 147 emails a day, the average worker, according to Forrester. And according to D-Score, research firm, we are touching our cell phones an average of 2,500 times a day.
Oh, wow.
That's like a constant fondle, right? Like, you are touching your phone like your whole day. And when you combine the fact that we're also making 300 decisions a day at work, and I mean simple decisions, like, where am I going to sit at lunch? What do I want on my sandwich? Like, what am I going to wear to the office? Which way am I going to go to work? Then we're exhausted. Our busyness is getting in the way of our happiness. And so part of what I put forward on stage and in the happiness equation is a model called the space scribble, where I force people to create space in their day. And it's harder to describe in a podcast, but essentially it's a 2x2 of time versus importance. And on your low time, low importance task, you need to automate those. I'm wearing right now, as I speak to you, I'm about to go on stage. I'm wearing a suit, jacket, a white shirt, a brown belt, and dark blue jeans with brown shoes. Guess what? I wear the same thing every day. It doesn't matter if I'm doing media. It doesn't matter if I'm doing a speaking engagement. I wear the same exact thing. It's a decision I don't make. I automated it. Last time I spoke, a woman said, I automate lunch. Lunch is stressful in my office. I'm like, it's like someone sends an email with like voting buttons and you want to go to McDonald's or Wendy's. And so she's like, I just make double dinners with my husband the night before. So automation is a really big thing we need to start doing more of. The second thing is regulation. And so this is for the low importance decisions that take a lot of time, like all those emails we're getting. You need to regulate them. I did a study with a productivity researcher, and we found that the 2 best hours a day to check email are from 9 to 10 in the morning and from 4 to 5 p.m. Because first of all, you still get 2 full hours of emailing, which is a lot, yet you create for yourself a 6 4-hour email-free window from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Like, you have an oasis in the middle of your day every day. You close Outlook, you shut down Gmail, whatever, and you've got no email. That's a regulated window. And so I think about regulated windows a lot. Another one for my wife and I is chores. Like, you know, we regulate all of our chores. So the first Saturday of every month, we call it Chores Blitz Saturday. And we keep an ongoing list of all the things going wrong. I
love the fact that you brand it. It's got, it's got marketing and brand appeal. Y'all should make t-shirts.
Yeah, Chores Blitz, trademark. Yeah, trademark. You can't call it Chores Blitz. You can have a chores, an errand run if you want, but you can't do Chores Blitz. And so we do Chores Blitz Saturday. And it's awesome because for the other 29 days of the month, I'm like, patio stone is wobbly. Barbecue needs a new propane tank. Light bulb is gone in the bathroom. We just make a list. And I'm like, that one Chores Blitz Saturday is like, we just do it all.
It's when you
do
it.
We have to think about it for the next 29 days. Yeah, it's awesome. So automation and regulation are two. Those things, what they do is they free up your mind and free your time to debate the things that matter. The high importance decisions, like where do I want to go next in my career? What company do I want to work at? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to be with? These decisions actually take time to chew on. And the 2,500 times a day we're checking our cell phone prevent us from debating those decisions.
Man, that is awesome, awesome stuff. All right, we've come to our highest rated segment of the show. It's time to play 3 random questions. All right, Neil, this is what we're doing today. We are going to find out which one of your parents that you love more.
My mom.
We can't play the game. You can't just say that.
I'm totally joking.
Oh, Neil.
Equally.
Okay.
I love my parents equally, but you hit me with the questions. I'm excited. I was just joking with you.
All right. No, that's good. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So Neil's mom is originally from Kenya, and Neil's dad's originally from India. So I'm going to ask Neil questions about the country of Kenya and questions about the country of India, and whichever one he gets more correct answers, is the parent he likes more. Obviously. All right. Neil, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. First question about Kenya. What is Kenya's largest export? Is it A, petroleum, B, horticultural products, C, bauxite, or D, diamonds?
I'm going to go C, bauxite.
Neil, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It is actually...
That was a toughie.
Yeah, it is. So it's actually, and I was surprised to learn this, it's actually B, horticultural products. In the largest, so over 950 million export in horticultural products, and the largest of that is flowers. Did not know that.
Wow.
All right, now let's...
I do not have enough Kenyan flowers in my life.
Yeah, I guess everyone needs more.
Need to get some orchids from Nairobi.
Yeah. All right, question 2. This is about India. According to a 2011 survey census, what percentage of the world's population is in India? Is it A, 9%, B, 11%, or C, 17%?
I'm going to say B.
I am sorry, Neil, that is incorrect. It's actually C. It's actually C, 17%. 1.3 billion people live in India.
I knew it was high. Yeah. I just didn't realize the global population was, I guess, smaller than my math. So, it's going to be funny, Stephen, because if I get every single question wrong, does that mean I like my parents equally?
I guess so, yeah. So you can just go ahead and do that. Okay. But where would the fun of that be?
I'm trying to get these right. Hit me with another one.
All right, here we go. Question 3. This is a Kenya question. Kenya has 2 official languages. What are they? You get no help here either.
Yeah, no, I'm not. This is not a multiple choice. I'm going to go with English and Swahili.
That's our bell. It's not working, but that was correct.
Yay.
Good job. Very good, Neil. Very, very good. Okay, question 4, India. Which region is the Taj Mahal located in? Which region of India is the Taj Mahal located in?
Where's the ABC?
No. You get no help on this one either.
Punjab.
Oh, Neil, I'm sorry. It's actually located in Agra. So the Taj Mahal is a mausoleum built by Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife. It was commissioned in 1631. So there you go. All right, Neil. Well, that's it. It looks like you love your mom more, so it was prophetic in the beginning.
Yeah. I think I see this more clear takeaway is that I don't know my parents backgrounds at all. I'm a horrible indictment of like when you have your kid in another country, like me being born and raised in the Toronto area. It's like, it's the roots. We got to get back to the roots.
Well,
I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're listening to this, then I'm sorry that I'm a huge embarrassment on your name.
Well, you know what? I'm sure the questions I asked you aren't the most important things about Kenya and India. But anyways, we had some fun. So, Neil, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your work and your life with us, man. It has just been awesome. We have loved it. Our listeners, you've got to buy this book, The Happiness Equation. Go online, any online bookseller. It's also in any bookstore. Also go to Neil's website, 1000awesomethings.com. It's awesome to read. Or you can find out more information as a speaker at www.executivespeakers.com. Neil, good luck later on this afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us.
Steven, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. I want to thank my guest, Neil Pasricha, for joining us and giving us a lot of really cool thoughts. To learn more about Neil, go to our website, www.executivespeakers.com. You can also buy his book, The Happiness Equation, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, or your favorite online bookseller. Many thanks to Chatterbox Studios, my producer Bob Arnold, to Ryan Sheeler for our intro music, and Poddington Bear for our music as well, too. Hope you have a good month. We'll see you soon.